Hey guys, thanks for tuning us in for this 50-second episode of Good Questions with Cameron Dole, brought to you by Smiley's Breezy Vapes. Special guest for this episode include Shark Tank's Daymond John. We'll also visit with comedian, actress, and author Whitney Cummings. We'll also visit with critical thinker Deepak Chopra and actor Robert Palmer Watkins. He'll be visiting with us about a brand new movie available today, 3 days later. If you would, please take the time to subscribe, drop a like, comment, leave some feedback, and share with your friends. We've got Shark Tank's Daymond John with us. We're going to talk a little bit about his new book and maybe some good use of your quarantine time. And first off, Daymond, thanks so much for your time this morning.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Now, we'll let you first off delve into the new book called Powershift. And Daymond, it seems like the timing on this is ideal, to put it mildly.
Yeah, unfortunately, it is. I created this book because I realized a lot of people were coming up to me feeling like they were powerless, or somebody took power for them, or somebody was in charge of the power that they were going to have or not have in their life. And I said to myself, I don't know why people think like this. I'm not going to come to their house and take them off the couch and make them more powerful than me. I'm not going to do that. It's all up to them. However, if you are off the couch yourself and you're prepared to work with me, then, and we can both make money and or become successful together, then I'm dying to work with you. So I created in this book the keys to becoming very powerful in life, because the only reason for success or not success is what you've negotiated. And people think negotiation is purely like Shark Tank. You're up there for the hour. No. Negotiation is what influence you built prior, what you negotiate when you're at the negotiating table, and what's in the best interest for the person on the other side of the table. And then how do you maximize that relationship for 5 weeks, 10 weeks, 10 years, 20 years after that? And in the book, I've studied many people, so I didn't want you to have one negotiation tactic like mine. I combine negotiation tactics of people I've studied in the book, such as Lindsey Vonn or Bethany Frankel or Billie Jean King, who changed the face of sports, or Mark Cuban or Pitbull, or my guys who are the number one brand on Shark Tank history called Bombas Socks. And I put it all in the book. And I'm just going to briefly talk about one subject I have in the book that may be not the big superstar that everybody knows, but is really good for today. A woman named Crystal who worked for a university. She goes on maternity leave. She has a baby. She comes back. She says, I had a baby, but my baby is a premature baby. I need to stay home with my baby. And because I need to stay home, I want to give you 20 hours at home and 20 hours here. And I've studied how to become a virtual assistant and work virtually. They said, unfortunately, we love you, but due to the policy of the university, we can't do that. She found out that the top position for women in this country are executive assistants and secretaries. Of course, there are many women that are CEOs. But then she started to work with a company called Belay, where she works virtually, and now she's in Ohio. She works 20 hours for me. She gives another CEO 10 hours, another 5 hours. She doesn't have to trek through the snow or heat or get on public transportation and sit in traffic. She sits at home with her baby, doesn't have to wear a mask. When this thing went down, I begged her to give me 35 hours a week to help restructure my employees to show them how to work virtually. So we have a happy hour every Friday at 4 o'clock. All my employees, we drink our own drinks from our house and go on Zoom and look at each other and talk and have fun and come up with creative ideas. She makes more money now than she's ever made before. She dictates the hours that she wants to work, and she doesn't work for anybody that she just doesn't like. And that's the power shift that everybody listening to me can do today.
And you talk about ideologies and ideas as well. How do you weed out the good from the bad?
When you're talking, well, first of all, you have to understand your why. Why are you doing it? Are you doing it because you want to be famous? Are you doing it because society told you want to do it? Or are you trying to impress a bunch of people on social media that you actually really don't like? Or are you trying to change the world? Are you trying to change the world? Are you trying to make this planet a better place? Are you trying to stay spiritual, who you are, and just be able to be zen and work and feel good about yourself and be home with your kids? So a lot of times people don't know why they're doing it. And that's the main purpose. Before you go to negotiate with anybody else in the world, you have to look in the mirror and negotiate with yourself. And a lot of people just don't do that.
You say the word negotiate, and people obviously just see that as a face-to-face, but really there's more to that in so many different facets of your life.
100%. 100%. So listen, how are you going to build influence with a Daymond John if you meet me in the elevator? You never knew that you were meeting me. You can't prep for that meeting. However, if you have practiced understanding how to make and present yourself very valuable to people, you would say, hey, Mr. John, how you doing? Here's the company that I've been working for, or here's where I'm looking to work. Here's what I can offer to people. You know what? I always will do this for free already. And if I can get an opportunity, have your people look into me. I'm not going to stress you right now with all the details about it, but here's how to get a hold of me, and here's my site or whatever the case is. I'm going to go out and I'm going to either, if you made a good impression on me and you weren't stressing and I look like you look like you're an amazing person that I want to get to know because your energy was great. You didn't tell me your problems. You told me more about solutions. I'm going to either look you up on my iPhone when I leave that elevator or tell my secretary to look you up. Once I look you up, who are you taking pictures with? What are you posting out there? If I remember looking up a female one time, and I was interested in her, and she was taking pictures with her husband all the time, and her husband just loved to wear, I have no reason why, I don't know why, he loved to wear T-shirts with the Confederate flag on it all the time. Now, that's up to him. I don't know what he believes in, but I made sure that I did not call her because I have 100 other people to call. I also looked up one man who talked to me one time, and I realized that he loved charitable organizations, and he was always posting positive things, no matter what he was going through. And I ended up hiring the guy, and I gave him an opportunity, because I needed that positive energy in my company. So that's how you sit there and you create a way to negotiate. It's not about what you do when you're at the table. Deals almost never happen the first time you meet somebody. That's only the first date. And if the negotiation went decent, I may call you back. If the negotiation went bad, then I won't call you back.
6 months and I haven't gotten a call from you, Daymond. I don't know what that says.
Maybe you got to change things around a little bit.
I know, right? Again, the new book, Powershift, Transform Any Situation, Close Any Deal, and Achieve Any Outcome. Daymond John, want to make sure and let our listeners know where they can find out more information about all that you've got going on and the book as well.
Yeah, of course, you can get Powershift right now on audio, or, of course, get it delivered to your house. I do not want anybody, well, I guess the bookstores are closed, but do not go to the bookstores, even if it's to buy my book. I want you to stay home and stay safe for your family. You can also find me on Instagram. I'm at The Shark Daymond on all social media platforms and LinkedIn, and every single day I get on there for about an hour, and I talk to everyday entrepreneurs and successful ones to see what they're doing today and how you can change your life and add it to your life. Maybe you'll get some good advice over that. And, of course, my amazing and our amazing viewers have convinced ABC to move Shark Tank back from Sunday nights to their favorite time, Friday nights at 8 p.m. So you can see us all on Shark Tank cursing out Mr. Wonderful every Friday night at 8 p.m.
That's awesome. Well, Daymond, always great to visit with you, sir, and I hope you have a great weekend and stay safe.
Thank you. You too.
Again, thanks to our sponsor for today's podcast, Smiley's Breezy Vapes, located at 313 Falcon Road. Stop in and see Shelly and the gang. They've got red basket specials on disposables, plus their doors are open now. They've got protective plexiglass. Masks are required, and they need to cover both your nose and your mouth. They've got a great selection of new hardware and the largest selection of disposable flavors in Southwest Oklahoma. Smiley's Breezy Vapes, 313 Falcon Road. Send them a text at 471-VAPE. Tell you, excited to have comedian and author Whitney Cummings with us this morning.
Author.
And I know, how scary is that for you, Whitney?
That sounds so weird when you say it. I don't need to be writing books. I need to be reading more books. But I think you guys are going to like this one.
And I tell you, been getting a lot of great feedback from this one. And what was it that made you decide to sit down and put your thoughts in your life down on paper?
You know, I wish it had. You make it sound like it was a choice. It was kind of more of a, something I was forced to do because I had all of these stories that I wanted to tell on stage as a stand-up. All these crazy stories. I almost got arrested in Guatemala. I almost got attacked by a bobcat. I had my ear bitten off by a dog. All these things that, I did because I had some mental wiring issues, and I made some very bad choices in my 20s, which I needed a lot of therapy with. But I tried to tell these stories on stage, Cameron, and it didn't go as well as I got uncomfortable. I was nervous. I got insecure. I was scared to be. These were just too embarrassing. These are just not the kind of things you admit to strangers at night. And I realized you know what, in order to tell these stories and to talk about my struggles with addiction and codependence and eating disorders, like, I'm going to have to write a book so that you guys can read it and I don't have to make eye contact with you when you're learning about it, because it's just too uncomfortable.
And how important for you being on stage is the comfortable factor?
You know, I am really comfortable on stage when it comes to certain things, and it's ironic because a lot of people think my comedy is edgy and brave and all these things, but, you know, when it comes to talking about my vulnerabilities and my flaws and what I've gone through in my quest to improve my mental health, I'm not so comfortable on stage, it turns out, and it seems like a book is a way better sort of medium to get it out there, because I also wanted to include a bunch of stuff that I learned along the way. I was diagnosed with something called codependence, which essentially means you're obsessed with everybody's problems but your own, and you end up dating people that are terrible for you. I explain it all in there, but I put in little quizzes and little tests and things to sort of do to work on your own stuff, like a little self-help element, and that's just not something that I would have been able to achieve on stage, so I was way more comfortable writing it down so people could have a little workbook to do themselves.
And like we're talking about the book, I'm Fine and Other Lies, and were there times in the writing that you were kind of like, you know, maybe I don't want to share that in a book as well?
Cameron, every day, right now. I can't. Look, I'm stuttering. I'm so freaked out that I released this book. I'm like, what was I thinking? But I think that's probably when you're in the right area. I think for me in art, in comedy and writing, it's usually when you're like, oh, God, I probably shouldn't have said that. That's probably when you're saying something that's going to profoundly affect people or penetrate people. You know, it doesn't really matter if I'm scared. It matters if people resonate and if this could make people laugh during a time in our country's history that's very challenging and upsetting and depressing. And, you know, doing press around this time with what's going on in the news cycle, I was very scared. I was like, should we cancel the book? Like, does anyone want to hear about this? Like, a comedian book about, you know, her mental health struggles? And everyone was like, that's what we need right now is laughter and revealing our flaws and having these conversations. And so I'm trying to just push through and, you know, remember that laughter is medicine, and I think we all need it.
And what does that mean to get that feedback from people saying that they, all the good feedback that you've gotten, and also that this can maybe help others that are going through some of the same issues? You
know, it's surreal, and I think the reason that, you know, I read so many books that helped me from other comedians, and, you know, I think I just wanted to basically write the book that I wish had been available to me when I was 20. You know, when I was, you know, I know so many girls who struggle with, you know, their body image and with, you know, eating disorders and depression and insecurity and stuff. And I couldn't find a book that dug into those issues, but was also funny. I would buy these self-help books and they would be depressing. They make me feel worse. And I was like, oh, why can't someone, you know, approach this stuff with some levity? Because the people that need to laugh are the ones buying self-help books, I think, you know. So I just wanted to write the book that I wish had been written by somebody. It's a shame I'm the one that had to write it because it's, you know, a lot of embarrassing stuff in there. But I'm proud of it. I've been getting, you know, people are coming up to me at shows with tears in their eyes, and, you know, and it's grateful, and they're giving it to their daughters and sons, and I couldn't think of a better reaction than that. So the good news is I'm doing this big tour, and I do get to meet people face to face, so at least I get to have some honest feedback about what they think, and it's been just surreal.
And what, as you've written and put all this down on paper, and now as you look back, what have you realized about yourself as a person?
That's a great question. Number one, it takes me a really long time to write books, I learned. It's very challenging. It's a tremendous amount of time. I've learned something, you know. I outline everything that I had to work on, whether it was struggles with addiction, self-care issues, self-sabotage, fear, perfectionism. I think that I was so afraid that I was never going to heal myself or get better. I learned that I actually you can change pretty fast if you put your mind to it. And the way neurology works is we can rewire our brains. And I guess I learned that I'm not completely full of crap, because as I go back and look through the book, I'm like, wow, I used to be crazy when I read some of these stories. So I learned that there is hope, and we can always fix the things about ourselves that we don't like, and that we can ask for help and be vulnerable. That doesn't mean you're weak. That doesn't mean you're a loser. That doesn't mean you're lame. I just really wanted to take the shame out of asking for help and admitting that you had a problem. And I learned that people actually like you more when you do that, not less.
There you go. And of course, Whitney, always like to let folks know where they can keep up with you via social media. Also, the website, find out more information about the tour as well.
Yes, WhitneyCummings.com. My Instagram is just Whitney Cummings. And then Whitney Cummings on Twitter. I'm everywhere. I'm on all the .coms.
There you go. Well, Whitney, it has been great to visit with you. I'm looking forward to having the chance to sit down with the book myself.
Thank you so much, and I have family in Tulsa, so hello to everybody.
Again, thanks to our sponsor, Smiley's Breezy Vapes. Check them out online at smileysbreezyvapes.com. You can also visit them on Facebook, or just stop in and see them at 313 Falcon Road. If you ever have a question, you can always call or send a text at 580-471-VAPE. That's 580-471-8273.
Truly honored to have the chance to visit with Deepak Chopra. First off, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. I'm grateful to be on your show.
And we're going to talk about the book called Metahuman, Unleashing Your Infinite Potential. And as you keep writing each new book, does it surprise you that this is now the 90th book that you've put out?
Yeah, looking back, I am surprised, and I feel like maybe the Rolling Stones or the Beach Boys. You keep singing some old songs, but you also have some new ones.
And how much has your thoughts and mentality changed over the span of that 90 book the 90 book span, if you will?
It's evolved. So I started as an internist and then an endocrinologist, which is looking at hormones. Then as a neuroendocrinologist, which is looking at brain chemistry and looking at the molecules of emotion. That led me to mind-body medicine, which then led me to integrative medicine and other healing modalities, and ultimately led me to what is the source of mind. And so that this book, Metahuman, is about that. What is beyond? Meta means beyond. And so human in this case means the human mind. So the human mind is a conditioned mind. As soon as you're born, you are given an identity. You're told you have a certain gender, a nationality, a religion, an economic status, a family history, and cultural history, all of which is true, but it also restricts your identity, because once you identify with something that's so provisional and man-made, you lose connection with your source, which is full of creativity and wonder and joy and love and compassion and peace and equanimity. But it's also the source of insight and curiosity and creativity and evolution and vision and your ability to actually connect with that which is infinite and beyond the conditioned mind. So that's what the book is about. It's a progression of everything I've done before.
Now, you talk about unleashing your infinite potential, and what do you think is the biggest misconception that folks have when they're thinking about that? I mean, how easy is it to apply some of this to their daily lives?
We all identify with our mind, with our body, and with our experience of the world. But we never ask ourselves, who am I, or what am I, or what do I want? If you begin just by that, if you sit quietly, close your eyes, put your attention on your heart, and ask just those two questions. Who am I, what do I want? Maybe add a third one, what am I grateful for? You'll start to unleash your infinite potential just by the insights, the sensations, the images, the feelings, the thoughts that arise when you ask yourself any question and quieten the turbulence of your mind.
And how hard do you think it is for folks to kind of quiet themselves and not let the environment change them as much as they change themselves based on that?
I think it's the only thing that will change the environment is your own change, because the world is as we see it. And what we see is through the filter of our conditioning. And if we don't ask ourselves who we are, what we want, what our purpose is, why we exist, we will never have access to the infinite possibilities that already are inherent in the human consciousness.
And you've been recognized by many publications for your work in medicine and in thinking as well. And to be so influential and being recognized for that, what's that mean to you on a personal level?
It is gratifying on one level, but it can be seductive, so I don't take it seriously.
I think that is one of the hardest things is, you take the negative. It's easy to brush the negative off, but the positive, sometimes you take a little too much to heart, right?
I think if you have a wife and kids who know you, they keep you centered.
That is right. Now, again, the book, Metahuman, Unleashing Your Infinite Potential. And, Doctor, I want to make sure and let folks know where they can find out more information about the book and the many websites that you have available as well.
Yeah, they can, for simplicity's sake, just go to deepakchopra.com. That's it.
All right. Well, Deepak, it has been truly an honor and a privilege to have the chance to visit with you. Looking forward to spending some time with the book, and hopefully we can visit again soon, my friend.
I'd love that. Thank you so much.
Again, thanks to our sponsor for today's podcast, Smiley's Breezy Vapes. Check out their Red Basket specials they have on disposables, plus they've always got some special items in their discount basket as well. Stop in and see them, 313 Falcon Road. Doors are open. Again, a reminder, they do have protective plexiglass, but masks are required, and please make sure they cover your nose and your mouth. If you need any new hardware, you have any questions, they've got the know-how and the knowledge from the novice all the way to the vaping legend. Like I like to say, Smiley's Breezy Vapes, they'll take care of you. Got a special guest with a new movie to talk about called Last 3 Days. We've got Robert Palmer Watkins on the line. And first off, Robert, thank you so much for taking the time, my friend.
Thank you so much for having me. Happy Friday, guys. Happy Friday the 13th.
And it's a special Friday the 13th for you as well.
Yes, it is. I'm so excited that this movie is finally releasing. We shot this about 2.5 years ago. There's a lot of work that comes into a movie, shooting it, but then the post-production, the audio, the ADR, the score, the everything, the editing, everything takes time. And I'm really, really, really excited that it's finally premiering on Apple and iTunes, and I hope you guys check it out because it's a fun ride.
Yeah. Now, Robert, tell our listeners, if they haven't seen the trailer, any of the previews, a little bit about the story in the last 3 days.
Yeah, so basically I play Jack Clough. He's an undercover cop. He wakes up one day and cannot remember the last 3 days of his life. He has no idea what happened, where he's at, what's going on. He cannot find his wife. His wife is missing. So he has to basically piece together the last 3 days of his life. And it's a really cool movie because it's an action-like cop movie for sure, but it's definitely got a romance side to it. It's got a little bit of a love story, and it's got a little bit of a sci-fi element too, because he's kind of jumping from past, future, present to trying to piece together what's going on. So he's trying to find his wife and also deal with the circumstances of his undercover cop partner Dave and this drug syndicate that he's dealing with, this Japanese drug gang. So he's his two worlds kind of collide, and yeah, man, it's a really fun ride. He's a guy that's worked really hard to be an undercover cop, and he's dealing with this Japanese drug gang, but he's also trying to keep his marriage afloat. And then two worlds kind of collide when he wakes up and he has no idea what happened. And I don't want to give away too much, but it's cool to see him piece it together. It's a a brain scramble for sure, because I think the audience, as they watch the movie, they're trying to figure it out with him. It's very confusing and all over the place, and the time frame jumps back and forth. But it's interesting. It's cool. It's deeper than just your typical action movie.
That's good stuff. Now, Robert, you also being seen on the Walking Dead World Beyond, and what has that been like to see the feedback and be a part of that whole franchise as well?
I mean, that's been insane. That's such a huge franchise. I mean, they've got The Walking Dead, they have Fear the Walking Dead, and now this is their new spinoff, Walking Dead World Beyond. I play Lieutenant Frank Newton. I'm a smaller part in this season for sure, but I'm opposite Julie Ormond, who is just such an amazing actress, and she's a huge pivotal character in this first season. So I'm hoping if they bring her back, my character will come back because I'm kind of under her. She's the captain. I'm a lieutenant, and they, that type of show, Walking Dead, they kind of build the story around the characters. So I'm hoping, fingers crossed, they bring me back in. But yeah, man, this first season was just amazing. We shot it in Richmond, Virginia, which is actually one of my hometowns. I'm from North Carolina, and then I moved to Richmond, Virginia, which is where I started acting. So to book something out here as an LA actor, on a self-tape, submit it, and get cast to only fly me back to my hometown is pretty ironic, right? But it was so cool. It was amazing. I mean, it's a high-budget, very successful, popular show. Everybody on set is excited to be there. And yeah, I'm just grateful regardless of what happens with future episodes or future seasons with this spinoff. I'm just to be a part of that world and to say that I got to experience some of that is really, really cool.
And now, Robert, how has what have you learned the most? This is one of my favorite questions I like to ask folks: is what have you learned most about yourself in 2020 that's going to help propel you into the goals you set for next year?
Oh man, 2020, what a year, huh? What have I learned? God, I've learned a lot, but I've also this has just been such a weird year for everybody. This is what I've learned, I think. This is a great question, by the way. Thank you for this. I have learned that being, especially as an artist, or I think anybody, whether you're an artist or not, as an artist, for me, I needed to hone in on some of my solo projects, stuff that I've been putting off for so long, that I always, my excuse was I don't have time for that right now. I don't have time to learn that hobby. I don't have time to go do that right now. I'm busy. We always make these excuses, right? Yeah. I think this time, as awful as it's been, has made me go, okay, well, what do I want to do right now? I actually have, I can't go to the gym. It's closed. I'm not auditioning. They're not happening. Productions are shut down. I'm gonna get a self-tape every now and then, but stuff is shut down. So I think this time for me has been okay, what do I want to do as Robert Palmer Watkins? What do I want to do? I want to work on my solo stuff, my independent projects. I want to write. I want to create. So I've been working on a show called Tub Life, which is a comedy, and I've been doing that with my friends, and that's been amazing because I've really had the time to make a show, and not just be an actor, but be a producer, creator, writer, and work on that with my friends and be passionate about it and have the time to do that. And then also my music stuff. I've got a bunch of original music coming out, and that's been really cool too. So I think I've learned to just be grateful and happy with where I'm at and the stuff that I have coming out, but center myself and take the time to work on stuff that I want to work on. And so much of my career thus far, when there's not a pandemic going on, has been I have to, if my agent hits me up with an audition, or if there's, I got to do press tours or whatever, it's all about, it's a machine, right? But right now things are shut down and I have more time to what do I want to do? So, yeah.
That's good stuff. And again, the new film, last 3 days. Sorry about that. Robert, I always want to make sure and let folks know where they can find out more information about that and also keep up with you via socials as well.
Thank you, man. My social media Instagram is my main source, basically. Robert Palmer Watkins. Facebook fan page is also Robert Palmer Watkins. Twitter is Robert P. Watkins. I have a TikTok, Robert Palmer Watkins. I have a Snapchat, Rob Watkins. There's way too many things to promote. There's just too many platforms. Instagram is my main one. So if you want to know what I'm doing, that's where I'm promoting it.
There you go. Well, Robert, great to visit with you this morning. Thanks so much for the conversation. Hopefully we can catch up again real soon.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much.
Thanks again for joining us for this 50-second episode of Good Questions with Cameron Dole. If you ever have a comment, a question, or anything else you'd like to know, you can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at GQwithCam. If you'd like to help out in the funding for this podcast, feel free to click the support tab and follow the instructions. And if you have a special guest idea, email me at gqwithcam@gmail.com. Again, thanks to Brandon Allen, came up with this theme music, and we'll do this. We'll just let him play us out for a few moments. Enjoy it. And again, thanks for tuning us in. We'll be back with episode number 53 coming up on Monday.